Welcome to the Western Ontario Super Hockey League podcast. I am your host, Kevin Fell. Last weekend was a doozy. There was some positioning that needed to be figured out. Of course, third place. There was a battle between Tillsonburg and Stratford. Tillsonburg coming out on top, and we'll show you how that all worked out. So I have two packets for you of highlights. The highlight packages, of course, are the Stratford Fighting Irish. They took on the Tillsonburg Thunder and the Elora Rocks on Friday night. I have the highlights from those two games. I don't have the highlights from the Strathroy Jets and Killer Bees on Friday and the Jets at the Killer Bees on Saturday. There was some technical issues there, but I'll walk you through those games right now. The Killer Bees visiting the Strathroy Jets. The Jets beating the Killer Bees 3-1. And then the Jets visiting, because they had a home-at-home on Saturday, a 5-4 game, a well-fought 5-4 game, too, I might add. As for the guests we have coming up on the show today, they're a couple of beauties. Let me just put that out there. We've got a look from the Strathroy Jets, and he is an absolute dandy. Spencer Robertson, who I apologize to because I did mispronounce Alvinston's name early on in the podcast. So I apologize to him for that. He's coming up a little bit later on. And then we have Maverick Petrie joining me from the Stratford Fighting Irish too. And we're going to take perspectives from both sides of the first round series between the Irish and the Killer Bees. But let's get to the first set of highlights that we have for you as the Stratford Fighting Irish visited the Elora Rocks on Friday night. Here they are. There's the highlights from the Elora Rocks beating the Stratford Fighting Irish 8-4. And as mentioned, I am missing two highlight packs. The home-at-home with the Jets and the Killer Bees. There were some technical difficulties, but here is what I thought was going to be the game of the week. Tillsonburg Thunder hosting the Stratford Fighting Irish, and some beauty goals were scored by Tillsonburg. Let's check out the highlights. Now that we're through the regular season of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League, we are into the sprint for the Sleiman Cup. 5 teams, 1 goal, as the graphic is saying. And this weekend is the first up. It is the Fighting Irish taking on the Killer Bees. Now, some of you might be asking, how did we get to the playoffs? What took place in the regular season? You're new to the league. It happens. Well, the regular season champions, as you can see, the Allura Rocks. Alex Utley, 37 points from the Rocks. He led the league in points. Lowest team goals against were the Strathroy Jets. Fewest penalties, the Stratford Fighting Irish and the Tillsonburg Thunder. And the league attendance record, well, the average was about 425 people, so that's awesome. 0.38 fights per game, which is awesome, and even better for those who love goal scoring. 10.6 goals per game, so it's a high-scoring, low-fight league, which is wonderful. So we are on to the playoffs. As I mentioned, the first series up this weekend, the Alvinston Killer Bees visiting the Stratford Fighting Irish. All right, joining me on the podcast today, the goaltender. Let's get this out of the way, Spencer, first and foremost. I want to apologize to you, your teammates, the city of Alvinston, for my mispronunciation early on in my WOSHL podcasting. Sorry about that. Sorry to you, your team, and the city.
No worries. You're invited for a drink anytime you'd like.
Oh, I like this team already. So you're going into this. All right, so you're going into a series against the Stratford Fighting Irish, Spencer. What's the feeling in the room right now? Are you guys looking forward to just pushing reset and starting a brand new season?
Yeah, I think we've really made strides here in the second half. A lot of the games we've played have been a lot more competitive, and I think that we're definitely in an upwards position here. So we're looking forward to playing these guys.
And what's the game plan for you guys? Just stick to what you've been doing lately in the second half?
We know we're not one of the most talented teams in the league, but we're definitely one of the hardest working. So, I mean, if we get our four lines going and we get some timely saves, that's kind of the game plan we're going with.
Right on. So, how do you feel coming into the Almond Arena? It can be a bit ominous. It's big, it's old, and can be very loud. How do you get past that as a goaltender?
I think it's just, you got to kind of tune out the noise sometimes. Honestly, when the game's going and the puck's getting slapped around, you don't even notice any of it. You're just locked in. But on the same sort of line there, I think it kind of bumps up the intensity a bit, hearing that crowd reaction for every big hit or play. I think every guy on our bench, whether you're home or away, gets into an arena when they have that many fans coming out.
Yeah, you want to silence them, right? Like you want to take them right out of the game early on.
Yeah, exactly.
And Spencer, how do you like? This is a big series for both of the teams. You said you feel good, you're working hard, and is that the game plan?
Yeah, I mean, coming into the league as an expansion team and not having the same sort of junior organizations in the area to kind of pull from, we knew it was going to be a tougher year. But I think it's one of those things where, we're coming in as the underdogs and we know it. And our goal here is to, prove the doubters wrong, really.
And the underdog is an easier role to play. You don't have the pressure. You could just have a little fun, right?
That's it. Like they're going to have all the pressure coming into this series. We're just coming out looking to play hockey, play our game.
And let's get to know Spencer Robertson a little bit. Where did you grow up? Where did you play minor hockey?
So I played in the GTA. I'm from Toronto originally, and then I ended up in Sudbury there with Laurentian University. Ended up transferring 2 years ago to Western, and that's how I ended up out Western Ontario way.
Right on. So when you said to your parents, "I want to be a goalie," were they like, "Oh no"?
You know what? It was one of those things early on where I think the league might have passed around sets and kind of someone on each team alternated. And I ended up playing it, and probably the first time I asked for maybe like a actual mask. That was quite the rabbit hole to go down. Can't thank my parents enough for that.
Absolutely. Do you have any weird game rituals? Like I hear a lot of goalies have some things they have to do. Are you on that list?
I'd like to put my gear on in the same sort of order, but I think like I've played with some pretty weird guys, and I like to think I'm probably one of the more normal ones. But no, there's plenty of guys that have little weird things that you just pick up on. You never confront them. You try to just let it happen, but you write it down in the back of your head there.
Well, yeah, there's always a weird ritual or two. Is there any weird ones you've seen in the dressing room you want to share, or you're not going to let that out?
Well, I'll tell you, our captain, Scott Case, he's got to be at the door fist bumping guys on the way out. If you take that spot right before you get on the ice, it's going to be a problem. And you definitely don't want to mess with Scott Case, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely not. Is there anybody that has to be the last off the ice? Anyone that has to be the first on the ice, or is there anything like that?
No, I think just because, part of the thing being a new team and whatever, everyone's kind of figuring out their role still. So we haven't really got into anything too deep like that yet.
That's a good call. So are you excited for this playoffs?
Oh, beyond excited. This whole year has been I mean, I didn't know anything about senior hockey really till this year when I got invited out to camp, and it's just been such a whirlwind of fun.
Fun's really the name of the game, isn't it? So if there's some young goalies coming up, what do you have to say to them? Is there any advice you'd pass along?
Well, I mean, if you look at some of the stats of our games, one of the things is don't take the goals too close to heart, right? And there's only so much you can do. I mean, I used to spend nights, trying to break down every play, think about what I could do better, and you know what, stuff like that, it stays with you to the next game, right? And really, I mean, especially with a team, we've had our struggles. You got to, take what you can learn from each game, but every new start is a fresh start to succeed there.
That's a good piece of advice. It's a great piece of advice, and you clearly are putting it into play now.
Oh yeah, this series starts 0-0. We're ready to go.
That's awesome. Who do you think is going to be the big time performer on the Killer Bees this playoff series?
Well, we've definitely been a team where our, we've had all four lines kind of share the offense a bit, but I'm really looking to guys like Brendan Ritchie and Darnick. I think a lot of our guys could really step up into that offensive role now that we've lost Grant Spence to university now. I think it's kind of opened up some opportunities for some new guys. So I think it's kind of free game, and whoever makes the most of that ice time, really.
What has been the biggest surprise for you making the jump to senior?
I think one of the biggest differences is because a lot of teams are they've grown up together, or they're kind of in the same age group. I find, compared to playing like minor or university hockey, a lot of the strategies are very different from team to team. Power play, breakout, that sort of thing. Like, I think with all the teams in our league, everyone has a very different style in the way they play the game. And I think just like game to game, it's a whole different experience. Whereas I found a lot more kind of the younger hockey, it's a lot more chip and chase, or relying on kind of hard forechecks and dumping the puck in the corner.
And as a goalie, I'm going to ask you this as a general question. Do you talk to your goalposts?
I don't think I've ever directly talked to my goalpost, but I've definitely mentioned a few words every time the puck goes off. I'll leave it at that.
That's fantastic. Well, I don't think I have any other questions for you. Do you have anything you want to say before we get ready for Saturday?
No, I think it's just we're looking forward to the weekend, and regardless of the result, I think this has been a fantastic first year for the league, and I can just speak to the people in Alvinston and all the players in the locker room. We've really rallied behind this team, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the league goes in the next years heading forward.
Absolutely, and looking forward to seeing you guys. And I'll be down to the room to apologize to your coaching staff and everyone else for the mispronunciation. Spencer, good luck in this upcoming series against Stratford.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Well, there was a great interview and a great chat with the Alvinston Killer Bees goaltender Spencer Robertson. And once again, as I said in the opening of the interview, I'm terribly sorry to Alvinston for the mispronunciation of your city. My apologies. It just kind of fell out of my mouth funny. It happens. I state that I have Don Cherry syndrome sometimes. And now let's get a perspective from the Stratford Fighting Irish. Joining me on the podcast today is a member of what we call the sandpaper line on the Stratford Fighting Irish. It's Maverick Petrie. Maverick, thanks for taking some time with me today.
No problem. Happy to be here with you.
Perfect, buddy. So, bit of a disappointing weekend for you guys last weekend, dropping two pretty important games. But hey, do you erase that now and just move forward?
Yeah, I think we just got to look forward, and, we did want that third place spot, but hey, we get some extra games in. So let's just take that, and hopefully we can beat Alvinston and then go into Allura with some games played. And, they might be a little slow because they didn't have those ones, but let's hopefully we can get in there.
Well, absolutely. The extra games has paid off for a couple of Canadian Olympic teams, right? So why not use them?
Yeah, exactly. Let's try and use that avenue and use it to our advantage.
So what exactly is your game plan for this weekend? You are playing a rather hardworking team.
Yeah, they play pretty hard and physical, and I think we just got to be pretty disciplined. And if we stick with our game, then I think we should be okay with them. But yeah, just discipline is the main thing, and let's just attack them, and like we dictate the pace in that one. So I'm looking forward to it.
And of course, you've got the crowd of the Almond Arena. It's a lively arena when it's playoff time.
Yeah, for sure, and we definitely have to take that as an advantage, and that's good too. And we have that home ice advantage, and that's nice that we want to be there for our fans too, and hopefully they can provide some energy for us, just like we can provide energy for them.
What's the vibe in the dressing room? What was practice like? Are you guys fired up and ready for this?
Yeah, it was actually, and practice was hard, and like we were practicing, and we have a 9 o'clock practice, so some guys are pretty tired and that stuff, but it was the total opposite of that on Tuesday. And like you see players, they're turning it up a bit, and it's playoff time.
And is there a difference in the way you guys approach a game in the playoffs? I mean, you've played your whole life. So from when you started to now, do you notice a difference?
Yeah, definitely in the pace and intensity. I don't think you really change anything structure-wise, but I think everybody's tempo just goes up come playoff time. And, it's just like a more intense regular season. I look at it because like you're playing there to win now, and every game means something at that point.
So Maverick, if there is some people from Alvinston coming to Stratford to watch, what can they expect from your game?
My game in particular?
Yeah.
I think some hard work there, and I play a pretty physical game, I think, but I try and chip in here and there with the odd offense, but that's not really my whole game. I just like to create energy for our bench and try and be hard on the forecheck and just be a tough player to play against.
Well, yeah, as I do the broadcast for you guys, we have nicknamed your line the sandpaper line, and I made sure that it was the coarsest of all sandpaper. Like you weren't picking up a number one when you guys are on the ice. Like it's some rough stuff. You're a lot of fun to watch. You get the crowd going. Has that always been your game?
Yeah, it has. Skill didn't really come easy to me, and goals don't really come easy to me. So I've always been a hardworking player, and I'll try and do anything for the team to win. If I do chip in offensively, it is a bonus. And like, obviously I have to contribute in some way of that, but I think we more look at me as an energy type guy. And I just like to always be working hard and competing the whole time.
Well, energy type guys have come through big in playoff games. They're usually the line you least expect that'll chip something in because they're willing to go into those dirty areas. And I think that's a lot coming from your line, and I think that's what we might see in this first round.
Yeah, for sure. Like I look back at like the Tampa teams, and you look at Yanni Gord and Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman. They're like not overly offensive. Now they do have a little bit of that upside, I think, on the sandpaper line, but they just create energy, and I don't think they win those cups without that line.
Absolutely not. You need a role-playing line, and that's what you guys are, and I respect it because I was a bit of a grit grinder, so I like to steer towards
muck it up in the boards.
Yeah, I like to muck it up. So I steer towards players that muck it up as well. And I was really enjoying the way your line plays every time I'm out there. So let's learn something about the Stratford Fighting Irish. I was talking to Raymond about the Killer Bees. Is there anybody in the locker room that has any weird traditions or weird routines they have to go through before a game, or you don't want to share anything like that?
I don't know. I know a player like Nick Young usually has a bit of candy at him before a game. He's just a big candy guy, but no really weird superstitious or anything like that.
You don't have anything?
No, I tried to steer away from that because I didn't want, like, if I had to revolve or go back onto something I always had to do, and then I mess it up one time and then it's constantly in my head, I try and stay away from that. So But
Good for you.
I was, when I was younger, I was like that, but I was like, I can't do this. It's too stressful.
Yeah, it is actually. Maverick, who was your favorite player growing up? Who did you look up to?
I always liked Rod Brindamore on Carolina, and then I just thought he was a competitor, and look at him now as a coach, and just his intensity and work ethic is just unbelievable. But then when he retired, it was Alex Ovechkin all the way. And I know we don't really have the similar game style, but I always thought he was pretty interesting to watch with how he plays the game and how big and strong he is, and also how he can put the puck in the net.
Well, that's the one thing about Alex. You don't realize it. Like, he's one of the greatest players of all time, but he's also rough and mean.
Oh, yeah. And, like, when you have a body size like that, like, I'd use that for sure. I'm jealous.
Yeah, he's built like a brick outhouse is what he's built like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's the Russian machine.
Absolutely. So, you're looking forward to this weekend. The team, what does your coach, your GM, had to say to you guys in the practice? And is he a motivational speaker? Is he a yeller? How does Jamie get you going?
Jamie's pretty intense. But, like, I think it is in a motivational way, too. Like, he fires the boys up, and he wants us to have the same sort of intensity as him always. And sometimes it's hard to match, but we try and do our best we can. But yeah, definitely he was preaching like we got to come in here in Stratford, be ready to go like right away, and we can't let it slip away at all.
Well, you can't let Alvinston take the crowd away.
No, absolutely not. And like we have to just come out hard right away and not give them a sniff at all.
Well, fantastic. Well, you know what? I'm not going to take too much of your time. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for taking time with me today, and good luck this weekend, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks, Kevin. Hope to see you there.
So if you are interested in going to the games this Saturday at the William Allman Arena, March 5th, 4:30 is Game 1. Game 2, 11 a.m. in Stratford as well, and some awesome prizes. First 50 up, free popcorn. We also got a 32-inch RCA TV, Google Mini, Alexa Echo Dot up for grabs as well, and 4 chicken wing vouchers from the Boar's Head. Those will all be prizes in the Chuck-a-Puck. It should be a beauty on Saturday and Sunday. So there's a look at the 3-game play-in between the Stratford Fighting Irish and the Alvinston Killer Bees. Good luck to both teams this weekend, Game 1 and 2, Saturday and Sunday at the Allman Arena in Stratford. Next week, we will look at the semi-final round between the Tillsonburg Thunder and the Jets. So that should be a dandy. We'll chat to some people from both of those organizations to see their take on their playoff chances and the sprint for the Sleiman Cup. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll chat next week.